Hi everyone. So I'm here today to talk about real estate, how to get licensed, what to expect, how long the process takes. The process basically consists of 3 steps. Like, that's how I like to think about it. The first step would be to take a class. The second step would be to pass the exam. And the third step would be to, actually sign up with a brokerage. You can easily sign up to take a class, especially with COVID right now. A lot of it is just online. I actually took my class in person. It was about 2 weeks of full-time classes. I took an exam, passed that, and then I signed up to take, the actual licensing exam. And basically what the class is that they kind of just give you a lot of reading material that they go over with you, and once you kind of memorize that and regurgitate it, you can take the class exam. Once you pass that, then you can go on to sign up and take the actual licensing exam. You can easily sign up to take the classes. I remember mine cost about, I think it was like $199 with the books included and everything. Obviously I think the prices might have changed now since I took mine about 3 years ago or so. With it being online, you can probably pace yourself. You could take it maybe, in a week, maybe more than that. Once you pass the class and the class exam, you have to register for the state and the national exam. And basically, what that is that this is the actual class that's going to grant you your license. At the time when I took the exam, I think we had about 100 questions for the national and then 40 questions for the state. I could be wrong, but that's what it was, and it was like 2 portions. I actually remember that I failed the state portion the first time. I missed like 1 question, and so I had to go again and retake it, which sucked because I had to pay $60 every time I went to take the exam. So that was like a waste of $60. When you take the exam, your state and your national exams get graded differently, so it's very possible for you to pass one but not the other. And either way, they're going to charge you the same amount. The national exam, it basically covers real estate law that's that's common throughout the states, whereas your state specific exam kind of covers more of the more detailed laws and regulations that deal with your specific state. And so I guess with that exam, I remember the national was relatively easy because it was a lot of it was just common sense. The questions were very wordy, but at the end of the day, it just didn't overthink everything. It was very easy to kind of, pick the right answer and move on to the next question. I do remember the state exam being harder, so I would, really take the time to study again, like I said before, and make sure that, once you're in there, you're prepared, you take it, and you just pass on your first time and just be done with it. You've got, you've taken the class, you passed the class, you sign up for the national and state exam, and then you pass that. Basically, once those 2 steps are done, you're essentially licensed, and you can technically start practicing. The only thing is, and I don't know if it's different for different states, but I know that in Virginia, you can't really practice real estate unless you're actually active with a brokerage. What that means is, even though I'm the real estate agent, technically I'm not the one conducting my sales and my rentals and my home buyer purchases. It's actually my broker who's doing these, and I'm just acting on his behalf. That's why my license needs to be hung up in my brokerage. That's something that a lot of people tend to kind of overlook or don't realize a lot of times when they're working with agents. For that reason, when you're starting out, especially for the first couple of years, until you can finally get your broker's license, you're kind of stuck, signing up for a brokerage and having, a split taken from your commission. That's definitely something you have to think about, because I know when I initially got into real estate, I thought, wow, I can make 1 sale, make 10 grand, and then I'd be good for a good 3 months. But in reality, that's not how it works. I recently got a check for 8 grand, but really I could only keep 4 grand. You don't really get to keep that check. There's gonna be a lot of other fees and things that are gonna eat up your portion of the check. I'm not saying that it's bad money and you can't make money this way, because obviously, as we all know, that's not true, and a lot of real estate agents do make a really good living on real estate. But this is a reality of the business, and you have to be, aware of it from the get-go so that you can be better prepared. This kind of brings me to one of the last points that I want to make, just because I don't want this video to be too long. When you're signing up for a brokerage, which is essentially your last step in kind of being licensed and ready to kind of start practicing real estate, you have to be mindful of, you know, the commission splits that you're going to have with the broker, the fees that are associated with it, the, you know, so like some brokerages have desk fees, which are like monthly fees for the office. There's also errors and omissions insurance, which you have to pay. Insurance is, you know, it is there to protect you as a realtor in the case if you know, make a mistake or somebody's trying to sue you. Making sure your errors and omissions are paid is, you know, you can't really practice real estate without that. And on top of all this, on top of all these fees that I just mentioned, another thing you really have to pay attention to is like, you know, your MLS fees, association fees, your, you know, like central lock fees, and basically everything I just mentioned has to do with, you know, the actual jobs, like be a part of certain associations in order to access, like, you know, the lock boxes in that area. You have to, you know, register and, you know, whatever MLS in your area. You know, you're gonna have to pay for that service in order to see what houses are on the market, stuff like that. So like definitely when it comes to the fees, I would do the math before getting into it. Make sure that it's, you know, a financial burden that you can actually handle, because for the first couple of months and possibly even a year, you're not really going to be making much money, if any at all. Real estate is definitely a long-term game. I would not get into this, you know, I would not get into this field if you're looking to make quick money, because that's not how it goes. Like even from, you know, the time that you meet with somebody that's serious about buying a house, even the moment that, you know, they decide on the house that they want to buy, you're still looking at like 2-3 months until closing day and when you actually collect that commission check. I mean, you don't have to be a patient person, but you just have to understand that, you know, you're not going to be getting checks overnight. Like it's going to be hard work. It's going to be a lot of follow-up, talking to people, meeting people, doing showings. Sometimes things don't pan out and they fall apart. And so, you know, there's a lot that goes into it. So it's not something you should get into for quick money. It's a long-term game. It is hard work and it does take time. But yeah, like if you have any questions about, you know, about the licensing process, or if you want to know more in detail about like, you know, what the day of an actual real estate agent looks like, just let me know. I'd be happy to answer your questions. And I hope this video helped, and I'll see you next time. Bye.